Hello everyone and a very warm welcome along to Sports Bet TV. My name is Paul Alster. I'm your racing expert offering tips and advice for the action in Britain and Ireland, and we've been doing very well since we started this service, and happy to say that our two weekend selections both ran cracking races. Now the first of them went on Wednesday. That was at Navan in Ireland, and the horse trained by Jessica Harrington was called One Voice. It led everywhere bar the very last stride and got caught in a photo finish, beaten about that much, about a half a centimetre, at odds of 16-5, ran an absolute corker, and I'm sure it's going to continue to pay to follow. So we were very, very close, couldn't have been closer, with One Voice, odds of 16-5, just over 3-1 that was. But then yesterday, on Thursday, we gave you a selection at Newbury, a horse that had never run before in a maiden race over 1.25 miles, called Worthily. We pointed out what a very good pedigree it had and how the trainer uses those type of races to bring on his better horses. It duly went on and won, and he won really impressively, very easy indeed, and he went in at odds of 9-4, which was bigger than we anticipated, so I hope very much you were on. Now I'm going to recommend something for you here with an Ante-post Bet. Ante-post is betting for a period in the future, and the race I'm looking at is the St Leger. That's one of the classic races, the last British classic race at Doncaster in September. It's over 1.75 miles. Now the half-brother to Worthily, Lucano, won the St Leger in the past, and on the way there he used the race called the Great Voltigeur Stakes at York in August as a stepping stone. Now they also did the same with another half-brother from the same family called Thought Worthy, and I'm very, very persuaded, shall we say, that Worthily will probably have one run in a graduation race to give him more experience. Then I suggest he'll probably go to York for the same race won by his two half-brothers, and then I think he'll go for the St Leger at Doncaster in September. Now he's currently offered at 25-1, and I would suggest if you have a bit on each way in the Ante-post market for the St Leger, come the day of the race, I believe Worthily will be target for that, and if he does go, he could easily be something like a 5-1 shot. So each way, Ante-post, Worthily for the St Leger in September. So let's come on to this weekend. There are 3 selections for you. The first goes later today in the Irish 2000 Guineas at the Curragh. What a race this is, 11 runners, 6 of them trained by Aidan O'Brien, who has won the race 5 times in the last 10 years. Now trying to figure out which of those 6 is best is always a challenge with Aidan. He's probably the greatest trainer in the world. He is an absolute legend. The favourite for the race is a horse called Siskin, who was unbeaten at 2 years old and is trained by Ger Lyons. All his wins, though, have come over 6 furlongs. A similar story to Pinatubo, you may remember from the English 2000 Guineas last week. Pinatubo finished 3rd, lost his unbeaten record. Not the same horse over a mile. I'm not saying Siskin won't win, but I don't think he's value as favourite at the moment. And amongst Aidan O'Brien's battalion, he has the likes of the very well-backed Lope Fernandez, Armory, who was a cracking 2-year-old, the unexposed Vatican City, Monarch of Egypt, and Fort Myers. But the one I'm going with is a horse called Royal Lytham, who won in Group 2 company as a 2-year-old, winning the July Stakes at Newmarket. And he ran a number of other good races, including being beaten just 1 length by Siskin, the favourite for today's race, in Ireland last year. And he was very unlucky that day because his saddle slipped backwards and the jockey wasn't able to push him out and drive him, but he was still only beaten 1 length. I think that Royal Lytham's pretty good value, and at 10-1 each way, and they popped the blinkers on first time just to help him concentrate, and I think that could make the difference. He's going to be ridden by Emmett McNamara, who's a talented jockey, doesn't always get a lot of big race rides, but he'll be determined to make the best of this. It's always hard to pick which of the Aidan O'Brien runners you should side with, but they all run on their merits, and for me 10-1 each way, Royal Lytham, for those golfers of you out there, is probably a sporting bet each way in the 640 at the Curragh today, the Irish 2000 Guineas. Now we have two more selections for you over the weekend. We'll run through them quickly. Sandown, 4:20 Saturday, a 1.75 mile handicap. An interesting runner called Leon Cavallo, who's been racing over hurdles the last 4 years for Dr. Richard Newland. He's joined another jumps trainer, a great trainer as well, David Pipe, and he's going to be ridden by Jason Watson, who, as we've pointed out in past bulletins, is a very, very talented jockey. Now, this Leon Cavallo stays very well indeed, and the fact that Jason Watson has been booked by David Pipe is very, very interesting for me. The horse has also got cheek pieces on for the first time, which are like a very light blinker. It's not really covers his eyes, it just helps him keep looking forward and not be distracted by horses on the side. And at 5-1, I think that Leon Cavallo is a fascinating runner on his first start on the flat for 4 years, and David Pipe is a master at getting them ready first time after a break, and this horse hasn't run for a while. So that's Leon Cavallo, Sandown 4:20 on Saturday, the 13th of June in the 1.75 mile handicap. And for my last selection, here is an absolutely fascinating horse. It's a 3-year-old filly who's never run, a bit like Wortherly yesterday, the colt that had never run. But wait till you hear how much they paid for this one. She's by Galileo. Her name is Do You Love Me? And I certainly hope they do, because they paid €3.2 million, €3.2 million for Do You Love Me as an unraised yearling. She has still never raised. She is by Galileo. Her full sister, Forever Together, won the Oaks, and she has a half-brother, Lord Shannakill, who was trained by her trainer, which is Carl Burke, and he won in Group 1 company. So Carl knows the family. They've been very, very patient with Do You Love Me. She's going to be ridden by the very capable jockey Clifford Lee, and she goes at Newmarket on Sunday in the 1.5 mile maiden fillies stakes, due off at 5 o'clock. She's going to be around the 7-4 mark. There are only 5 runners, and we think that she's going to really take the beating, because they've got their eyes on some very big prizes with this beautifully bred filly. And I'm going to leave you with what Carl Burke said about her in a recent interview in the Racing Post. He said, "We'll be looking for a maiden for her and taking it from there, but she remains a very promising filly." Well, that's straight from the horse's mouth, from the trainer Carl Burke, who believes this filly could be very, very good indeed. The opposition isn't brilliant. I'd be very disappointed if she doesn't win at Newmarket on Sunday in the 5 o'clock. That's Do You Love Me? So 3 selections over the weekend. We hope you enjoy your racing. We hope you have some winning bets. And of course, we wish you a great weekend and look forward to your company midweek for our next batch of selections. Bye-bye for now.